There's a quiet moment in life, somewhere after 60, when you start to notice little things. The chair feels lower. The steps seem steeper. You reach for the railing, not because you want to, but because your body tells you to. And you think, well, I guess I'm just getting older. But what if I told you that isn't the whole story? Weak legs aren't simply a sign of aging. They're your body's way of asking for attention, softly, humbly, long before it shouts through pain or a fall. And that whisper matters, because weak legs are the #1 reason older adults lose balance, fall, and lose independence overnight. I once met a woman named Margaret, 71 years old. She loved gardening, but one small fall on the driveway changed everything. What hurt her most wasn't the bruise on her knee. It was the fear that followed, the fear of falling again. But here's the hopeful part. The story doesn't have to end there. With the right foods, real, everyday foods, you can feed your muscles, wake up your nerves, and teach your body to stand strong again. I've seen it happen, time and time again. People who thought their legs were gone for good start walking with confidence again, simply because they gave their bodies what they truly needed. So today, let's slow down together. Pour yourself a cup of tea, take a breath, and let's talk, heart to heart, about the 10 foods that can bring your legs and your life back to strength. Because growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It means growing wiser about how we care for ourselves. Let's start with something simple, something most of us already have in our kitchen: an egg. It seems so ordinary, doesn't it? But inside that small shell lies a quiet miracle of nature. You see, our muscles don't just fade with age. They wait for us to feed them the right message. And one of the strongest messages we can send comes from an amino acid called leucine, found in abundance in eggs. Leucine tells your body it's time to grow again. It switches on muscle repair, reminding your cells that strength isn't a memory, it's a living possibility. But the real beauty lies in eating the whole egg, yolk and all. That golden center holds choline, a nutrient your brain and nerves need to talk clearly to your muscles. It's what keeps your steps steady and your movements sure. Without it, signals get fuzzy. You start to lose coordination, or that quiet tremble in your legs begins to appear. And there's more. Vitamin B12 in eggs protects your nerves from tingling and numbness, while the healthy fats, DHA and EPA, keep your cells strong and flexible like well-oiled hinges that never rust. I once worked with a man named Robert, 68 years old, who told me he hadn't eaten eggs in years. Doctors said they're bad for cholesterol, he said. But after reintroducing just 1 or 2 whole eggs a day alongside a balanced diet, he felt his energy return. His morning walks no longer felt like uphill battles. Sometimes healing begins with something as simple as trusting real food again. So tomorrow morning, when you crack that egg, don't just see breakfast. See a small act of rebuilding, one that speaks directly to your legs, your nerves, and your independence. When I was growing up, my grandmother used to say, "Fish keeps your body light and your mind bright." Back then, I didn't understand what she meant. But years later, after working with hundreds of older adults, I realized she was right. In a way that science now beautifully confirms. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are gifts from the ocean, full of omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA. These aren't just good fats. They're essential messengers, quietly traveling through your bloodstream, telling your muscles and nerves, stay calm, stay strong, Keep moving. Inflammation, that slow, silent fire inside our bodies, is one of the biggest reasons our legs weaken over time. Omega-3s act like water to that flame. They cool it down, allowing your muscles to heal, your joints to loosen, and your energy to flow again. Studies show that older adults who regularly eat fatty fish build more muscle and recover faster after exercise or injury. But beyond science, I've seen it in real life. A patient of mine, Helen, 74, used to love line dancing, but knee pain forced her to stop. When she began adding wild salmon to her meals twice a week, grilled, simple, with a squeeze of lemon, something changed. 3 months later, she was back on the dance floor, her laughter louder than the music. That's the magic of nature's balance. Food that nourishes not just your body, but your joy. If you can, choose wild-caught fish. They tend to carry cleaner, richer nutrients. But even farmed salmon, when cooked with care, is far better than anything fried or processed. So next time you sit down to a plate of salmon, think of it not as just dinner, but as a small wave of renewal flowing through your muscles, your mind, and your spirit. There's something deeply grounding about a good, simple meal, the kind that smells like Sunday afternoons and reminds you of family. For many of us, that comfort came from a slice of roast beef or a warm stew bubbling on the stove, and it turns out there's real wisdom in those old-fashioned meals. Grass-fed beef isn't just food, it's fuel for the body's engine. After 60, our muscles don't just need protein, they need complete, high-quality protein, rich in amino acids that rebuild and repair every fiber that keeps us standing tall. Beef gives you that, along with iron, which carries oxygen through your blood, and creatine, the compound that powers your muscles to move, lift, and live with energy. When people tell me, I just don't have the strength I used to, I often ask about their diet. And more often than not, they've cut back on protein, believing it's safer or easier on the system. But here's what I've seen in real life. When older adults reintroduce balanced portions of quality beef, not daily but mindfully, their stamina returns. Their walks get longer. Their eyes shine brighter. Grass-fed beef carries a special strength. It's richer in healthy fats and antioxidants than grain-fed beef, giving your muscles the nutrients they need to recover. It's nature's way of saying, I've already prepared everything your body is asking for. You just need to receive it. I once met George, a 72-year-old retired mechanic who thought his weak legs were just part of aging. When he began eating small portions of lean, grass-fed beef a few times a week, paired with vegetables and water, his energy changed. Within weeks, he said, I feel like my body remembers how to work again. So yes, a simple piece of beef can be more than food. It can be a quiet conversation between the earth and your body, reminding you that strength, once lost, can always be rebuilt. Let's talk about something you probably don't think of when it comes to strong legs. Your gut. Strange connection, isn't it? But science and life often remind us that everything in the body is connected in ways we don't see. Yogurt, the simple, creamy food many of us grew up with, holds a quiet secret. It keeps your gut, and therefore your entire body, in harmony. When your gut is healthy, it absorbs nutrients more efficiently. Protein, calcium, magnesium, all the things your muscles and bones need, actually get where they're supposed to go. But here's the key. Not all yogurts are created equal. Forget the sugar-laden, fat-free versions lining store shelves. What your body truly needs is plain, full-fat yogurt, the kind that's rich, tangy, and alive with probiotics. The good bacteria that balance your digestive system and strengthen your immune defenses. A healthy gut doesn't just help digestion. It reduces inflammation, calms your nerves, and supports better communication between your brain and your muscles. In my practice, I've seen people in their 70s regain mobility simply by fixing what was happening inside. The gut first, the legs next. I remember Eleanor, 69, who used to complain about leg cramps and poor balance. When we added a small cup of plain Greek yogurt to her breakfast every day, her digestion improved first, then her energy, then her walking. "I didn't think something so small could change so much," she said, smiling with the confidence of someone rediscovering her body's rhythm. That's the thing about yogurt. It's not flashy, it's not trendy, but it works quietly, rebuilding strength from the inside out. So next time you scoop that cool spoonful, remember, you're not just nourishing your bones, you're tending the soil that lets your whole body grow strong again. There's something ancient, almost sacred, about a pot of bone broth simmering slowly on the stove. The gentle bubbling, the warm aroma, it feels like comfort itself. For generations, our grandparents knew what we're only beginning to rediscover, that food can be medicine when it's made with care and patience. Bone broth isn't just soup, it's a quiet healer. Inside that golden liquid is collagen, the very material that holds us together. It keeps our joints cushioned, our ligaments flexible, and our tendons strong. When you drink it, you're not just warming your body. You're feeding the framework that lets you move with ease. I once worked with a man named Thomas, 73, who used to wince every time he got up from his recliner. His knees, stiff and achy, made every step feel like a burden. He started drinking homemade bone broth a few times a week, just a cup with lunch or dinner. Within 2 months his steps grew lighter and that constant dull ache began to fade. "It's like oiling an old machine," he told me with a grin. "That's exactly what collagen does. It restores movement. And it's not just the joints. Bone broth also provides glycine and glutamine, 2 amino acids that calm inflammation, heal your gut lining, and even soothe your nervous system. Science now shows what our elders already sensed. When your gut is calm, your whole body moves better, including your legs. So the next time you make soup, let it simmer slow. Add bones, vegetables, a pinch of salt. Nothing fancy. Then, as you sip that warm broth, think of it as more than nourishment. It's a conversation with time itself, a way of telling your body, I still care for you, I'm still listening, and we're not done moving yet. If you've ever walked through a garden at sunrise, the dew shining on spinach leaves, the smell of earth fresh and alive, you've already met one of the most powerful medicines nature offers, leafy greens and colorful vegetables. Our muscles don't live on protein alone, they thrive on color, on the vitamins, minerals and antioxidants that come from plants bursting with life. Spinach, kale, broccoli, bok choy, these are more than side dishes. They're daily gifts that help blood flow freely through your muscles, delivering oxygen, easing inflammation, and keeping your nerves sharp and responsive. You see, inside these humble greens are nutrients like magnesium, potassium, and vitamin K, the quiet workers behind every strong contraction, every stable step. They also feed the good bacteria in your gut, creating a balance that affects everything from your mood to your mobility. I once visited an older couple, Mary and John, both in their 70s. They'd started growing a small garden behind their house, just for fun, they said. But over time, that little patch of green changed more than their backyard. It changed them. Mary told me her morning stiffness was gone. John said his blood pressure had dropped. But what touched me most was how alive they seemed when they talked about their garden. "It's funny," Mary said. "The more greens we grow, the more energy we have to pick them." That's what these vegetables do. They return life where life feels tired. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated diets. Just fill your plate with the colors of nature. Greens, oranges, purples, reds. The more variety, the stronger your body becomes. Because every bite of real food is a reminder your body is still capable of growing, healing and flourishing, just like the plants that feed it. Have you ever noticed how nature hides its greatest treasures in the smallest packages? A single almond, a walnut, a spoonful of chia or flax seeds, so tiny you could hold 100 of them in your palm. And yet, inside each one lies a power your body quietly craves. Nuts and seeds are little engines of life. They're packed with magnesium, which helps your muscles contract and relax smoothly. Zinc to repair tissues. Vitamin E to protect your nerves from the slow wear and tear of time. And then there are their healthy fats, steady, nourishing energy that keeps your mind sharp and your legs moving with grace. Some seeds, like flax and chia, even carry plant-based omega-3s, not as strong as those from fish, but still vital for calming inflammation and balancing your system from within. I remember a man named Joseph, 75, who came to me complaining of leg cramps at night. "They wake me up like an alarm," he said. I asked him to start a small ritual, a handful of mixed nuts every afternoon and a sprinkle of chia seeds in his morning oatmeal. 2 weeks later he smiled and said, "It's the first time I've slept through the night in months." That's the beauty of these tiny foods. They don't shout, they whisper. They don't promise miracles, but they build strength quietly, day after day. Just keep them simple, unsalted, unflavored, natural. Enjoy them slowly, like medicine that tastes good. Because sometimes healing doesn't come in a pill or a prescription. It comes from the humble rhythm of real food, from something small, nourishing, something deep. So next time you hold a few nuts or seeds in your hand, remember, you're holding nature's way of saying, you still have more life to live. There's a quiet kind of wisdom in simple foods. Beans, lentils, chickpeas. They don't look like much. They're humble, inexpensive, and often overlooked. But inside these tiny shapes lies a strength that has nourished humanity for thousands of years. For people over 60, beans and legumes are one of the most underrated sources of renewal. They're rich in protein to rebuild muscles, fiber to balance digestion, and iron and potassium to keep your blood and heart strong. But their magic doesn't stop there. You see, beans also feed something deeper, the good bacteria in your gut. Those tiny allies inside you thrive on the special fibers and plant compounds in beans, which in turn reduce inflammation and keep your immune system resilient. When your gut is happy, your legs are stronger, your mood steadier, and your energy more reliable. One of my favorite stories comes from a woman named Clara, 72, who used to feel drained every afternoon. "I thought it was just part of aging," she told me. We added lentil soup and a few spoonfuls of chickpeas to her meals. Simple, comforting food. Within weeks her energy returned. "It's strange," she said. "I didn't change much, but my body feels lighter, steadier, almost younger." Science backs her up. Beans contain arginine, which helps your body produce nitric oxide, a natural compound that improves blood flow, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to your muscles. That's why even small amounts, eaten regularly, can make a big difference in stamina and balance. So maybe it's time to bring back that pot of beans, slow cooked, seasoned with care, shared with love. Because the foods that built our ancestors' strength can still rebuild ours, one quiet meal at a time. As we grow older, strength isn't just in our muscles, it's in how alive we feel. And sometimes that spark comes from the simplest colors on our plate. Take berries, small, vibrant, full of life. Their deep blues and reds carry anthocyanins, nature's own protection for your nerves and brain. They calm inflammation, sharpen reflexes, and keep your balance steady, like music that helps your body remember its rhythm. Then there's the avocado, soft, creamy, full of good fats and quiet wisdom. It feeds your nerves, smooths communication between your brain and your legs, and gives you that calm, grounded energy that says, "I still belong in this body." I once knew a man who said, "I don't want to be young again, I just want to move without fear." And that's the heart of it. Eating well after 60 isn't about chasing youth. It's about nourishing courage. The courage to keep walking, laughing and showing up for life, one meal at a time. So every berry, every slice of avocado, every real living food, it's not just nourishment. It's a promise to yourself. I'm still here, still moving, still becoming.